Hello, good morning. This is Dr. Victoria Skirbo speaking to you from the Caesar Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And I thought I would do a quick reading on Rod Rosenstein. Today is Saturday, September 22nd. It is not quite, but almost the first day of fall. The moon moves the sun moves into Libra, so what better day to talk about the Assistant Attorney General than when the sun's about to move into Libra. Rod Rosenstein himself is actually a Capricorn, sun in Capricorn. Capricorns are generally very serious, and he certainly comes across as very serious. Excuse me. Lay down. My impression, that's my dog Boo. He's also a Capricorn. Anyway, my impression of him, just off the top of my head and perhaps psychically, is that he's kind of a straight arrow. He's very much, I think he really loves his job, as most Capricorns do, and they endeavor to do a good job. Yeah, he strikes me as a pretty serious guy who goes by the rules and is challenged by all the chaos that the president sort of brings to the table. Okay, so let's see. I just shuffled. Let's see what Rod Rosenstein's cards look like. And I'll do a Celtic cross and just see if what comes up with that. I'm sort of more interested in where he's at right now. Okay. So the first card I picked is the in this deck is called the Mirror card. But this is actually the Hanged Man card. So he feels like he's hung up. He's actually probably feels like he's hung out to dry. He feels like there isn't much he can do, that his hands are tied behind his back. He continues to look at things from a different perspective, but he really does feel like there's a certain, he almost perhaps feels like a sacrificial lamb. The card of the Hanged Man is connected with Neptune, the planet Neptune. And when Neptune is involved, there can be deceit and lies and just things are unclear. And so I don't think that the deceits and lies are on his part, but we'll continue and see what we see. This is the Crossing card. This is the Ten of Stones. This is the Ten of Pentacles in the other decks. This has to do with, first of all, it has to do with money, but it has also to do with legacy. And it's possible with this card here that he feels a responsibility to the legacy of those who've come before him. He can also be getting challenged by big money. And I don't necessarily mean big money in that they're offering him big money, because he doesn't strike me as the type of person who would do that. I feel as though the big money is working against him. You know, who's ever working for the president, who wants to for us not to see what's going on with Russia, would be working against him. So what's at the root of the matter? This is the Three of Pentacles in other decks. In this deck, it's the Three of Stones, and it's called Creativity. And it's interesting because this person is, this woman is standing there with, good, Boo finally laid down. She's leaning up against these giant rocks, Neolithic rock formations. And so she stands firm in her work ethic. Okay, she stands firm in the work that she does, and is stands for that. So he feels, at the root of this, he feels like he's doing his job, which he is. Okay, Remember the old days when doing your job was actually a good thing? This is the past. Ugh, poor guy. The Eight of Arrows, or the Eight of Swords. This guy feels like he's been put upon, and he certainly has. So this is kind of a continuation of the slings and arrows that are being hurled at him. He feels, at least in the past, he feels like he's been walking this path alone, and yet he holds the light in front of him. So he feels like he's been ethical. What's in the sky? Aha, the shaman. This is the magician card in other decks. This is the Wildwood Tarot. Let me just put this up. This I do use this on occasion, but this is the first time I've used it in these readings. This is a great tarot. A lot of pagan imagery, which I love. So this is about harnessing all the power and all the tools at your disposal. So I feel as though, and this card up at the top of the reading generally is what Spirit is suggesting, or words from Spirit, and Spirit are saying just marshal your forces. Okay, let's just put that there and see what else comes up. I was going to say something. I don't want to say it until at the end. This is the immediate environment. We get the Ancestor card, which in other decks is the Hierophant, or the Pope card. Usually it has to do with tradition or government, and he is beating and you see the shaman here has a drum in their hand, and they're beating the drum. And so this is depending on the structures that are already there. So there's a strength there with that. There is a sense of standing firm within the structure of the department that he's in. So it feels to me like he is going to use the rules to stand firm and protect himself, and stand up for himself, and stand up for his job. Boy, this guy is going to be a diamond by the end of this. How other people see it. This is the Eight of Cups, and this deck is called Rebirth. I feel like people see him as having a renewed sense of... I feel like there's at this point it's become almost like a spiritual quest. So this is his domestic situation. The Ace of Bows, or the Ace of Wands. This is a very positive card. It's about new beginnings, new ideas, new creative endeavors. It's a strong card. So I feel as though in his domestic situation, now that could be his home and his family, or it could just be where he spends most of his time, which is, you know, at this rate, I'm sure it's all work. But there's a new plan, perhaps. Okay, this is the hopes and fears. This is called the Seer card in this deck, but it is the High Priestess. The High Priestess is a psychic card. It's about seeing but not saying. And I think his hopes and fears is that the secrets will come out. It's a hope, and maybe a fear that they won't. So I feel as though he has a higher purpose, a higher sense of purpose with this. So that's very interesting. Let's see the outcome card. And we get the Nine of Vessels, which is in this deck is called Generosity. It's also known as the Wish card. Generally, I do not like this card in most decks, but in this deck, I really do like it. It's much less lascivious in this deck. It is a sense of abundance and generosity. So I would say that he is going to get his wish. I generally don't read that card like that, but I will, because that's what it feels like. And let's pull to see if we can get a major arcana. and I get the 2 of vessels, the 10 of vessels, both water, all water, the 7 of stones, healing. So these aren't the cards. These are all positive cards, right? And let's see at the bottom of the deck if we can get something here. This is the card of rest, but it's also in this deck. This is 4 of swords. In other decks, it's usually rest and recuperation. And here we have this gentleman like pinned to the ground, and then above him is this beautiful butterfly. Sort of like the idea of rebirth after rest. So from this reading, I feel like he will be successful, vindicated, get his wish, and then he'll get to go on a nice long vacation. And I don't mean like a nice long vacation because he gets fired, a vacation because he needs it. So despite what's being said about him, I feel as though his position is safe at this time. So that kind of makes me feel good, because he does seem like a decent chap, and he does to me at least seem like somebody who is diligent in what they do, and we need those diligent people who are willing to stand up for their principles. He does seem very principled. So, well, I hope you find this reading helpful, and I will be doing more in the future. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any suggestions for other issues or situations, please comment below. I'll see you again later. Ciao.